Hey, Erica, what's up?
Hi, Dr. Delony.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Sorry I hung up on you a minute ago. We're still friends, right?
Of course.
Yes. I've got a very low number, so I need to preserve all I got. So what's up?
I need to know some other perspective about whether or not I should forgive my husband for basically cheating on me again.
Well, tell me about it.
He had an affair about 10 years ago, and we were able to reconcile. It took about a year, and we also had my third child. And I told him if he had ever cheated on me again, I would leave him for good. And recently, he got fired for sexual harassment at his job.
Man. What happened?
He told me that he was being written up for sexual harassment because he made a stupid joke to somebody that's actually our friend, and she got very angry, and so she reported him.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time nobody was telling me anything about it, and it lasted about a week. And so the day that he was fired, he told me that it was for one joke, and it was it ended up being more than one joke. But that wasn't the cheating. That he had cheated. He had texted a girl half his age, and talking about things inappropriately, like wearing her thighs as earmuffs. And that's
I missed what you said.
He talked about, he was texting this girl about inappropriate things, like wearing her thighs as earmuffs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Like just sexually explicit stuff. Okay, all right. I didn't hear what you said. Okay.
Sorry.
So wearing her thighs as earmuffs. I've literally never heard that one before. He gets in trouble at work. He's running his mouth, being stupid, and you know as well as I do, it's rare that somebody, even though with all the backlash we have these days, it's rare that somebody fires you one and done, right? So some sort of something was going on there, and then as a part of this, you found out the other thing was going on. So what's your big picture question?
Can I ever trust him again?
What do you think? You've been living with him for a decade or more, right? How long have y'all been married?
We've been together for 24 years. We've
24 years. Wow.
Been married for 19.
Okay. You tell me.
I don't feel like I can trust him. I feel like I try to believe in people and that they can change and be better. So I feel like if he was to change and grow up, I feel like I would be able to trust him then. But
those are not mutually exclusive. He can grow up and he can change. And that doesn't mean you have to be married to him. He can grow up and he can change, and he did a couple of times nuke your marriage. You can choose to stay and be a part of that healing process, right? You see what I'm saying? There's a bunch of options, and anytime we back ourselves into a corner and say it's either this or this, we're always going to make a less than good decision because we feel forced into a choice. And so you've got a bunch of different options here. Going back to your original question, ultimately, forgiveness is for you. And in the psychological literature, there's some arguments that go back and forth, and in the clinical therapy space, people argue back and forth. I'm of the opinion, and again, you can get online and find different opinions from brilliant people, right? I'm of the opinion that there is little to no healing without forgiveness. Because forgiveness is for you. It's not for him. Forgiveness is you holding this brick that he placed in your hands a brick of infidelity, a brick of lack of trust, a brick of dishonesty. And forgiveness is you setting that down and saying, I'm not carrying your stuff anymore. I'm letting this go. Now, we're going to have to deal with the consequences of this. I can't trust you. I don't want to be with you anymore. There's a gap of 10 years between this behavior. I have to believe there was other things that went on, right? Whether it was all electronic or in person, who knows? But it's that gnawing, I don't know what comes next, right? That keeps you up at night. And you got a quarter of a century with this person. Y'all have made humans together, right? So there's something to not just throw away lightly. So I'll circle back to you, and this is the scary question that I'm pretty sure you have an answer to. What do you want to do?
I honestly don't know. I feel like if I work on this healing with him and stay with him, that I'll be disrespecting myself. And
here's what I think, honestly, and I've had this conversation with so many people over the years. I think I think the consequences of your choice are scary. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want my children to have to go through a divorce. My parents divorced, and they made it horrible for us.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that to my children.
Right. And again, you've put yourself in an either or. There are divorces where the adults in the room act like adults. And there is separations that say, hey, this has to happen because of so-and-so's behavior, but we're going to treat each other with dignity and respect on behalf of these young kids, right? So it's not either you have to stay miserable and disrespected and in a hostile home life, or the kids have to go through a messy divorce. It's not an either or again, okay? It feels like you've made your choice, but the idea of separating, moving, getting your own place, dividing the estate, all of the stuff downstream is a lot of stuff. It's hard. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That means it's hard.
Right.
Is there an interim space? Have y'all spent some time apart?
Well, since he was fired from his job, he had to go work. I told him to go work in another state, and he's gone.
Go work in another state?
Dude, I've heard of the doghouse. State before.
Oh, okay.
He was working in another state before, and then COVID happened, and he was home for that, and it wasn't as much money, but we were struggling, but I told him that seemed to be the only option for him to be able to live. So he's gone for 3+ weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard of somebody like you got to go sleep on the couch. I haven't heard somebody be like you got to go sleep in Missouri or something. I haven't heard that. That's a new one, right? You got to go to Michigan. Here's what I think needs to happen. 2 things. Number 1, you've probably heard me say this on the show. I'll say it again because I think it's worth repeating. When somebody cheats on you, there's the obvious betrayal. And there's the obvious disorientation. Like everything we thought we were standing on, the sidewalk that we walk on now is busted up, right? So that happens. But I think as if using the sidewalk metaphor, you can fix that sidewalk. You can go get a contractor who will walk alongside you, and y'all can dig all that concrete up, and it stinks, and it's hot, and all that, but you can get it done. You can clean that up. What I think the silent killer in infidelity is that you, Erica, no longer trust Erica. Because in your head, you think, dude, I've been down this road. I should have seen this coming. How in the world, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? I'm crazy. And if he's good at what he does, he'll say, oh, it was a one-time thing. I was just drinking, or I was this thing, and you're making a big deal about it. And you start to feel that you're crazy. And you start to feel that you can't trust you. And that's when you call a guy, just a rando dude on a podcast, and you're like, hey, I don't even know how to feel. You see what I'm saying? And so
Right.
one of the important parts of healing from infidelity, and this is you get fired from a job and that you didn't see coming, right? Or a leader demotes you or gives you a pay cut that you don't see coming, right? These are any type of relational interactions that are out of the blue and that fracture the relationship. Is you've got to sit down and heal. I've got to learn to retrust myself. And just because this happened doesn't mean I'm not trustworthy. I'm going to always look in the mirror and say, did I contribute anything in this relationship? Am I going to participate? And I know that's not PC to say, did I participate in this? What role did I play here? And then I'm going to be honest with a counselor, with a group of close friends, walking through, I am trustworthy, and here's what I think the next right step is. And so one, I think you need to go talk to a counselor by yourself and say, this is what happened. Because my guess is over the last 2 decades together, in between the two instances of infidelity, there's been some significant distance between the two of you. Is that fair? He worked.
Yes, I mean,
he worked in another
I believe
state.
in the whole seasons, but
Yeah.
every time we've ever had any issues, or I felt like we were in danger, we've gone and seen counselors, and if that didn't work, I was trying to work on myself. And
okay, so you've put the time and the effort in, and you're looking at this as though you failed, you screwed something up, and I need you to hear me say you didn't fail. Okay,
right?
Do you believe me?
Yes.
Okay. I need you to internalize that. You didn't fail. And if this ends up in divorce, you have options so that it doesn't turn into a mess that you experienced as a kid. Is it going to hurt your children? 100%. Absolutely. Is it going to be a mess? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Yes. All those things are true. But that doesn't mean it's not the right thing. And choosing to go get back up on the horse again and go through the healing process again and what is this going to look like, that's not necessarily the wrong choice either.
I'm afraid that if I do that he'll do it again.
I mean, I think all the evidence suggests that's the case.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here on the phone after talking to you for 5 minutes and say, you got to get out of this relationship. I think it's a mess. I definitely think it's a mess. Tell me about your friend that you said your husband told a dirty joke to somebody or dirty jokes to somebody who happened to be a friend who told on him and ultimately led to his departure. Are y'all still talking?
Barely. She says that she just needed a safe space to work, and I feel like she could have come in outside of work and told me what was going on, and we could have handled it that way versus causing a financial hardship on our family in addition to the
So hear me say this.
Issues.
I think she did the right thing. And the person who caused the financial hardship issues in your home is your husband, not her. Now, I would expect my friend to come tell me, right? So I get that. The schoolyard code, I get that totally. But it's your husband that put another woman in an uncomfortable position at work. And based on what you've told me, I don't trust that there was one dirty joke that was told that ultimately led to him getting fired. My guess is there's a pattern of behavior there.
Right.
Right. And so her repeatedly having to go to work and be uncomfortable next to her best friend's cheating husband, who also is making sexual jokes, which often sexual jokes are fishing expeditions. Because if she laughs or she winks or she tells a funny sexual joke back, now we have this connection and now, right? See what I'm saying? So it can go down a road. And her saying, I feel uncomfortable. Or if she'd ever, anyway, all I have to say is you're going to have, this is the second thing, you got to have some adult conversations. You got to sit down with him and say, what's the future? I need 6 months by myself to be separated, or I've lost trust in you. At this point, I don't feel comfortable being married to you, or I'm willing to try this thing again. Like, y'all need to get in a room and go to breakfast somewhere and have some hard conversations directly across the table. Okay? Just saying you go away, it's not going to help. And having these conversations at home in the context of being at home is going to be hard because it's that your home is charged and the kids are right there in the next room. So get out of the house. Y'all go sit somewhere and tell them, we're going to have a hard adult conversation. And tell them, I don't know that I can be married to you anymore, but also I remember what happened to me. And so if we go down this road of divorce, we're going to have to be adults on behalf of these kids. And is that pie in the sky thinking on my part? It might be. I just have this belief that adults can be adults even when it's hard. And I know that there's millions of people that act like children all the time. It's annoying. But all the way back to your original question, forgiveness is for you. And so maybe this breakfast that y'all go to, this lunch or dinner y'all go to, you start that by write that down. Put it on a brick. Put a piece of tape on a brick and write down cheating. Or you cheated, and put that on the table and hand it to him and say, I'm not carrying this anymore. I forgive you. Now, here's how I feel, and here's some of the consequences of what happened. And we're going to move forward that way. Forgiveness doesn't mean passivity. Forgiveness doesn't mean consequences. Forgiveness doesn't mean I forget everything. Forgiveness just means I'm not carrying this, and that's for you, not for him. Don't carry that around. But do go see somebody. You got some healing work to do, and you need some help sifting through the jungle of your feelings and thoughts right now because it's a lot. And the last thing I'll tell you, I'll remind you, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.